we're down by 3. Look inside yourself, what do you see? The pain is in your mind, no, nothing stops me. Everyone is looking at me. Heart is pounding and we're down by 3. Look inside yourself, I know what I see. Do you have the guts to do it for me? Gonna sweat, gonna work, gonna burn, it's gonna hurt. We're gonna fight, we're gonna score, we're gonna win, we're gonna war. Right of the glass, kick some ass, kick some ass, right of the cage, turn the page. Time to break, not gonna choke. Game over, no class, don't gloat. If we win, we'll be the GOAT. Do you have the heart to give him some hope? Everyone is looking at me. Time to protest, I'm on my knees. Raise my fist so that everyone sees. I'm gonna stand up for what I believe. Gonna sweat, gonna work, gonna burn, it's gonna hurt. We're gonna fight, we're gonna score, we're gonna win, we're gonna war. Right on the glass, kick some ass, kick some ass, right of the cage, turn the page. Gonna sweat, gonna work, gonna burn, it's gonna hurt. We're gonna fight, we're gonna score, we're gonna win. We are going to war. Right of the glass, kick some ass, kick some ass, right of the cage, turn the page.
Here we go.
Welcome to Talkin' Pigskin. Great sports fans talking hockey and football with a dash of everything else.
Ready?
Tuning in on YouTube and Facebook Live or wherever you get your podcasts. We are coming to you live from Puckin' Pigskin World headquarters in Red Deer, Alberta, as part of the Hockey Podcast Network and brought to you by DraftKings and Game Time. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we go live and post. And don't forget to drop your comments and questions into the chat because viewer interaction is one of the best things about doing this live. Got another great show for you tonight. Jimmy Fanizzi from the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast, joins us to talk about the New York Rangers and maybe some football, who knows. And Jim Augustine from the Pens and Stuff podcast hops on to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins. But first, let's start with some hot topics. We're going to start with some football right now. The Grey Cup champion Montreal Alouettes have extended the contract of Grey Cup MVP Cody Fajardo one more year from 2024 to 2025. The Hamilton Tiger Cats have named Scott Milanovich as their new head coach. The Ticats have also named former head coach Orlando Steinhauer, president of football operations, and Ed Hervey as the new general manager. Winnipeg Blue Bombers have agreed to terms with defensive end Willie Jefferson on a 1-year extension, and the Ottawa Redblacks have named Tommy Condell their new offensive coordinator. In hockey news, the Ottawa Senators have hired Jacques Martin as senior advisor to coaching staff. The Minnesota Wild stay hot as they doused the Calgary Flames last night. The streaking Edmonton Oilers are finally back in action tonight as they host the Carolina Hurricanes. Will anyone stop the Golden Knights from repeating as Stanley Cup champs? No, they won't. New York Rangers hold top spot in the NHL with 18-5-1 record, followed by the Boston Bruins at 17-4-3 and the Vegas Golden Knights at 16-5-5. The Chicago Blackhawks are bottom feeders this week with a record of 7-16-1, followed by the San Jose Sharks at 7-17-2 and the Oilers at 9-12-1. My first guest tonight hosts a podcast called From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. Jimmy Fanizzi, welcome to Puck and Pigskin.
What's going on, Jason? How you doing, my man? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing great, and it's great to have you. First of all, I want to clear up and make sure that I'm saying your name right. Fanizzi?
Close enough. It's Fanizzi, but you're close enough.
Fanizzi, okay.
You're close enough. Hey, I'll give you credit, though. Nobody ever gets that last name correct, so you came close.
Nobody ever gets mine correct either, so I feel you, man.
What's yours?
Mine is Bisic, but everyone says Bisic or Bisic or...
I like that one. All right. I was just curious.
Yeah, so like I mentioned here, the Rangers sit first place in the NHL with an 18-5-1 record. This has to be the best start that the New York Rangers have had in quite some time. Am I right?
Yeah, in a long time. And I'm actually quite surprised, to be honest with you, that they're this hot to start the year because, growing up a Ranger fan my whole life, I was only 2 months old when they last won the Stanley Cup. So I do have vivid memories of it, but I haven't actually seen them win it. I've only seen highlights. So in my lifetime, I've never actually seen the Rangers win a championship, although I would like to. But with that being said, this is probably the best that I have seen the Rangers look in a while. And that's saying a lot considering the fact that I've been harping on this team to play better defensively for nearly a decade now, and they actually have. And that is one of the key reasons as to why they've been off to this hot start, outside of the fact that they had a poor performance against the Ottawa Senators last night, but that's another discussion for another day. My point being is this. I do love the fact that they're this hot, but at the same time, I am a big concern about it because they still have shown flashes where they still try to go for the pretty pass way too much. Just shoot the puck. It is nice that they're actually shooting it a lot more this year than in years past, but at the same time, when you shoot so much and focus so much on scoring, you also tend to forget how to defend. So you got to figure out how to do both. And until I see it, I'm still a bit skeptical about this hot start. However, I am happy at the same time because they are looking really, really good. Literally everybody's contributing. Panarin is just absolutely on fire right now. He's on pace for a 100-point season. Keandre Miller's adding a great offensive game to his already great defensive play. Jacob Trouba's a shot-blocking machine. What more can you say about him? Chris Kreider. I know Zibby's been off to a slow start. Mika Zibanejad, but he's starting to pick things up a little bit. You have literally everybody contributing. The young guys like Will Cooley, who's showing why he belongs on this team. Will Cooley's been tremendous. Who else am I forgetting about? Eric Gustafson has actually stepped in and become a great sixth defenseman for this team. I was really surprised by how good he's looked so far. But, you really have to love how this Rangers team is. Like you said, they're at the top of the NHL, which is something I was not expecting personally. I was expecting it to be, Boston all the way. I picked Boston to go to the Stanley Cup final this year. Look, a lot can change. Who knows? But as we stand right now, at the time of this live stream, the Rangers are at top, and do I hope it remains that way? Obviously, yes, because I'm a Ranger fan. I am realistic, and I know that it probably will not last. But for now, I am happy that they are this hot.
Yeah, so them and Boston have kind of been flip-flopping between 1 and 2, I think, the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Vegas started off hot, of course, and they're kind of leveling off now. So it may be between the Rangers and Boston there for top spot.
Yeah, as of right now, I don't mean to cut you off, Jason. I apologize. But as of
No
right now,
worries.
Boston is at 17 wins on the year. They're off tonight. Their next game is tomorrow against Buffalo in Boston. So that'll probably be an easy win for them. But who knows? The Sabres are one of those kind of sneaky, like pesky teams. So you never know what can happen in that one.
Yeah, and not only are the Rangers off to a hot start, they're actually scoring goals. I've seen some scores with some 4s, some 5s, some 6s in there. They put up 7 on Boston.
Yes.
You kind of already answered the question I was going with this about who's earning their spot on the team right now. So I'll go to my next question. On a team doing this well, is there anybody that you feel is not living up to expectations?
Well, to answer your question about who deserves to make the spot, like I said, it was Will Cooley. He's showing why he belongs in this team. That's a really tough one. Who is not living up to their expectations?
If anybody.
I mean, I really can't think of anybody off the top of my head because, like I said, you literally have everybody contributing. Literally everybody. Now, look, losing Capo Caco hurts. Who knows what the hell's going to happen with him? I wish him nothing but the best. But I'll sort of like rephrase the question here. If you want to talk about somebody who's been a bit shaky this year, I would definitely have to point to Igor Shesterkin. Because, look, he obviously is one of the best goalies in the NHL. There's no question about that. But this year, for some reason, he's had quite a few spurts where he's given up more than 3 goals a game, which is not what you want. I mean, look at last night against Ottawa. He gave up 5. I think a couple nights ago, he gave up 6. He gave up 5 another night. So this is not what you want. He has been very, very shaky. Jonathan Quick has been better than Igor Shesterkin this year. Jonathan Quick is 7-0-1 to start the year. He has been tremendous with the Rangers. Igor, look, I get Igor only has 4 losses on the year, so it's nothing to really, well, now 5. So it's really nothing to set alarm bells about, but it is a bit of a concern because I don't know if he's playing hurt. Look, I don't know these things, but something is off about Shesty. So to kind of rephrase your question as to who's been more shaky rather than who is not living up to expectations, because I really can't think of anybody. So as far as who's more shaky, I would definitely say it's been Igor, no question.
Yeah, last week I had Jeffrey Krentzman on also talking about the New York Rangers, and he felt that Capo Caco hasn't quite been living up to expectations. How do you feel about that?
I mean, yes, you can point to him, but look what happened. He got hurt. So is that really fair to say now? I don't think so. No, look, has he lived up to being the number 2 overall pick that we expect him to be overall? I don't think so. No. But as far as this year is concerned, I really don't think it's fair to say that because he got hurt and he's going to be on IL. We don't know how long he's going to be out. It could be 4 to 6 months. Who knows? It could be season ending, although I keep hearing it's not season ending. I don't know. I'm no doctor. I'm no reporter. I just go by what I hear. But look, I love Capo Caco a lot. I want him to succeed in this league. But when he comes back from this leg injury, I want to see how it's going to play out before we make any assumptions on how he's not living up to any expectations. Because again, he's still young. He's still in his early 20s. So I'm not ready to say, oh, he's not living up to these expectations or he's a bust. Although I did have my doubts about Alexis Lafreniere, but that's another conversation for another day. And now Alexis Lafreniere was making me eat crow in the best way possible because look at the start he's having to the year. But bottom line is this. As far as Capo Caco is concerned, I think it's a little bit unfair because he got hurt this year.
Yeah, and speaking of that, that injury definitely didn't look good. Is there a definite time frame on a return, or is that not even close
So
to
far,
something to
from what
look
I've
at?
heard, it is a 4 to 6 month period of time in which he'll be out. Again, I don't know for sure. That's what I've heard from a couple of Rangers reporters on Twitter. But as far as I know right now, it's 4 to 6 months. It could be longer. It could be season ending, but who knows? But you are right. That injury did not look pretty at all. I just hope it's not as serious as we saw that it looked on the ice.
So we could be looking at a possible return for the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I definitely think the Rangers are a playoff team this year.
Of
But
course.
here's my concern. What are they going to do in the playoffs? Because as of recently, they've had a track record of not doing well when it comes to the playoffs. Look at last year. Granted, they did force a 7th game against the New Jersey Devils, but you saw throughout that entire series, the Devils were obviously the better team. As much as it pains me to say it, it's true. I know Neil's probably listening to this right now and a bunch of other Devils podcasts, but it's the truth. The Rangers' playoff record recently has not been good. Now, do I expect something different this year? Part of me kind of does. I expect them to at least make the conference finals, but at the same time, I'm going to temper that expectation because I know what this Ranger team is capable of in the playoffs. For some reason, they just forget how to do almost everything. They don't know how to shoot. They don't know how to defend. Their goaltending seems... Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. Their goaltending seems to amp it up a level, and then the rest of it is just right down the crapper. All right? So, do I expect the Rangers to make the playoffs? Absolutely, I do. They're going to make the playoffs. No question about it. It's when they get there is when we'll find out who this team truly is. And until I see that, I'm still skeptical about it.
Yeah, and you mentioned when they get there, goaltending, I think, is going to be a big thing, like it is obviously with every team in the playoffs. You touched on Jonathan Quick, who's come in 7 wins, 1 overtime loss. Number one, is that a huge surprise to you? And number two, is Shesterkin losing the number 1 starting job?
Shesterkin is not losing the number 1 spot. Let's just get that out of the way right now.
That's what Jeffrey said too.
He will have the number 1 spot, barring an injury or anything else catastrophic. So let's just get that out of the way right now. But Jonathan Quick has been not really a surprise, but it's been a really great story, man. It's been a really good story. He gets to come in, play for the childhood team that he rooted for ever since he was a kid. He's finally in a blue shirt uniform, and now he's going out there and having a resurgent type of season so far. He has been nothing short of spectacular. You look at he pitched a shutout against a supposed Edmonton Oilers team who was supposed to be really good in our eyes, but look at them right now. They're not as good as we thought. He has a couple of shutouts this year. Look at Jonathan Quick, and look, I get it, he's of an advanced age, but that's the reason why you sign players like that to 1-year contracts. It's a 1-year contract worth $825,000. So if it didn't work out, then okay, you're not spending a ton of money on him. But this clearly seems to be working. And if the Rangers want to bring him back next year for 1 more year, sign me up. If he keeps up playing like this, I'll be happy to bring him back. So I'm not going to say it's a surprise, but it's been a hell of a story. I will say that.
Yeah, just under 900 grand for somebody who hasn't lost a game yet is not a bad bargain.
Yes. Well, so far, obviously things can change. You're not going to win every single start you have.
Yeah. Give me your thoughts on Blake Wheeler so far as a New York Ranger.
People need to calm down about Blake Wheeler because I'm seeing everywhere that Blake Wheeler's no good. Why is he on the team? He's old. Can we relax? Really? I mean, what is it, like 20 plus games into the season? Calm down, people. Calm down. Blake Wheeler is going to be fine. He wanted to come here. Look, I still think he has some things to prove. He's gotten off to a slow start, I'll admit it. But can we relax a little? Stop calling him a bust. Seriously, people, come on. Lay off the man. Look, I get he's 37 going on 38, but relax.
And yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about your thoughts on the Jacob Trouba stick swinging incident. Give me your thoughts on that whole situation.
I mean, truth be told, I did not see that take place live. I had prior commitments to that game, so I wasn't able to watch the entire game. But I did see what happened in the highlights. And look, that's a type of play that shouldn't happen. And you know, he admitted it. He took the blame. He got the. Do I think he should have gotten more than fined $5,000? Look, people are gonna rip me for this, but if you want to get technical, because I keep hearing that people are saying the NHL has gotten real soft over the years. If you want to take it to that mentality, then maybe you suspend him for a game or two. But I'm not the commissioner. I don't make those rules. But from my knowledge, that's just a play that shouldn't happen. You know, you can't just willy-nilly just cross-check somebody in the face like that. That's something that shouldn't happen. And I applaud Trouba for owning up to it. That's what a captain should do. And that is one of the reasons why he was named the captain of the Rangers, because he owns up to his mistakes.
Yeah, I as well did not see it happen live. I saw the replay. Tough to say. Things happen in the game when you're, when things get heated. So, but
Yeah.
you're right. Definitely good on him for owning up to it and
Absolutely.
yeah. So let's talk a bit about your show. Tell me how you got into podcasting and how the show came to be.
Well, podcasting in general came to me back in high school. I really have wanted to start my own podcast for a while. The idea came to me because I follow this one guy on YouTube called JR Jackson. He's also known as JR Sport Brief on YouTube. But if you don't know who he is, go subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's fantastic at what he does. And he also has his own radio show on CBS Sports Radio, by the way, which you should go listen to. But anyway, I got the idea from him because he always had this catchphrase that he would say, bottom line is. And I thought, that'd be a really good name for a podcast. So I came up with that idea first, and I'm still doing that show to this day. And it's close to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is insane. But it's not just a sports podcast anymore. I've become more of a variety channel with that lately because I'm mainly on YouTube now with that show. Yeah. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I did see that. Yeah, I checked out the channel and I saw.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But as far as this show is concerned, I've had cravings of doing a hockey podcast for about a couple of months prior to 2023 just beginning. And over the summer, I pitched an idea to a couple of friends of mine who are also Ranger fans about a few name ideas. One of them was from the Blue Seats, and I forget what the other two were. There were 3 name ideas that I had, but from the Blue Seats won. So I submitted the idea to our very own Kyle Manifold here on THPN, and shout outs to him for bringing me on board. And, you know, having this show on this network is probably as close to a childhood dream come true as I can get to, because I've always wanted to cover the Rangers from any aspect, whether it's doing a podcast, whether it's doing play-by-play, whether it's doing reporting. So having this show really stemmed from the fact that I really want to cover this team, and I saw that there was a hockey podcast network out there, literally titled the Hockey Podcast Network. So I said, why the hell not? I'll jump in there. I'll submit my info, and here we are. But like I said, this is as close to a childhood dream as I'm ever gonna get, and I'm very, very thankful that everybody has decided to bring me on and give me a chance to do this show.
Hey, you never know. Some of these small podcasts lead to bigger podcasts and lead to actual credentials at games. So you never know.
Absolutely, yes. You never know.
So I'm gonna plug your socials and stuff in the description, but tell everybody where they can find you on social.
Oh, yeah. As of right now, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at BlueSeats94. That's BLUESEATS 94. And you can use hashtag BlueSeats to interact with us on there. You can also find us on our brand new YouTube channel, which we just launched about 1 to 2 months ago. You can go subscribe to that. Just search for From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. And make sure you go subscribe on all audio platforms as well. We're on Apple, Google, Spotify. We're pretty much everywhere at this point. So it would mean the world if you subscribe to us, hit the like button, and please rate us 5 stars. It would also mean a lot to us.
All right. Yeah, that about covers it. Well, Jimmy Fanizzi, thanks for coming on the show, and we'll definitely have you on again sometime down the road.
Definitely, man. And hey, next time we're on, we're definitely going to talk some football, because me being a Giants fan, I've got a lot to say about that team, but that'll be for another time.
Now that I know that, I'll definitely prepare for that.
Hey, listen, man, in all seriousness, thank you so much for having me on. This was a blast. We'll definitely do it again soon. We'll have you on my show one day. How's that?
That'd be great. That'd be great. My favorite team is the Flames. My second favorite is the Knights. Okay. So I got a lot to talk about.
All right, so you're like Kyle. You're also a Flames fan. Hey, you know what? I can respect that. I have no reason to hate the Flames, but all I can say is good luck.
Thanks a lot. You have yourself a good night.
Man. Thanks a lot, Jason. This was a blast. Talk soon, man.
Thanks, Jimmy. Bet the action on the ice with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use code THPN. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023. All rights reserved. All right, my next guest hosts the Pens and Stuff podcast, obviously talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins. Jim Augustine, welcome to Puckin' Pigskin.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
As you can see, I also did a wardrobe change just for you, Jim. I have to show you.
Nice. Yeah, I got my Robo Penguin on today too. So, yeah, we're...
It's funny because I bought this jersey probably in 1994 when I fit it much better, of course.
Well, you know how it is. Yeah, I had one too, a white one similar to that. I didn't have a number or name on it, but my kids wear it now because I don't fit in it anymore.
Yeah, just to give you a rough idea, how long ago was I bought this? I bought it for $98. Now you
Yeah.
probably can't get one for under 200. So,
Yeah, you probably couldn't sniff it for that much.
so let's start off by talking about your show.
Okay.
How long have you been doing this, and how did you get started?
Well, we actually began podcasting, my son and I, like right after the Penguins won their back-to-back cup in 2017. He came to me and said, "Hey, Dad, why don't we do a podcast?" And I said, "Okay, we can do that." And we put it together, real basic, kind of sitting in our bedroom and listening to some of the other podcasts that were out there, and we just sat down. We talked about the Penguins. We did some funny, goofy things, like we did a prediction contest every week, and the loser would have to do some kind of weird punishment thing. And it was, that's just kind of what we did. We were kind of trying, I guess, make it more like I don't know, like a Dude Perfect type thing or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we started near the end of our second season. We actually brought in my middle daughter, and she started talking about the Pens, and so we finally started doing a little bit more serious podcasting. And then we got onto the Hockey Podcast Network just this year, and was just really excited about being a part of that. And yeah, we talk about mostly Penguin stuff, but we also talk about other teams in the league and what we're seeing, some of the trends and things that are going on there that, that we like, that we don't like, things that we feel like need to change, or things that are just absolutely ridiculous. Like there needs to be a bigger base fine for things like swinging sticks or taking people out.
Speaking of Jacob Trouba.
Well, yeah, I heard that conversation, and I won't tell Jimmy, but I can't stand Jacob Trouba. God bless him. But anyway, there just needs to be more of a discipline to dissuade guys from doing this kind of stuff. I mean, they take their fine $5,000, even to the mid-league minimum guys, it's nothing. And I don't think it dissuades them from doing it. I'll pay $500 to take a guy out, $5,000 to take a guy out. Yeah. I mean, if I miss a couple of games, I miss a couple of games. At this point, they really don't care, because we're only 2 months into the season. But I think the league needs to do more than that. So we talk about stuff like that. We talk about all kinds of different National Hockey League stuff, and just really like to talk about teams that are doing well, teams that are doing poorly, like our own Penguins and that kind of thing. But yeah, that's how we got started. And so it's the three of us. It's my son and my daughter, and we just absolutely love doing it. And it's just a lot of fun. And we're not doing it for fame and fortune. We're just doing it to have a good time, and hopefully to inform some people.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are doing this for fame and fortune right now. We can't all be Pat McAfee or 32 Thoughts or
No.
So judging by your logo, I'm guessing your son is a Bruins fan.
Well,
and your daughter Dallas Stars fan.
Well, see, now that's the thing. We are all Penguins fans first.
Yeah.
But through the last couple of years, we've decided, in order to keep the and stuff part of our Pens and Stuff podcast, we've each adopted one team from each of the other three divisions. And so Andrew's favorite is Boston, and he really loves rooting for Boston. Abby is just I don't know why, but she just clung to the Dallas Stars. She just loves them. And me, I'm Pittsburgh all the way. I grew up in northwestern Pennsylvania in the 70s, And so I'm Pittsburgh everything. Pirates, Steelers,
Oh,
Penguins. Yeah, we are. That's it. I suffered the year I started getting real interested in football was in 1980, right after the Steelers had won their fourth Super Bowl, and that's when the decline, when the Steelers just kind of went into the toilet and suffered for about 10 years until Bill Cowher came and turned that club around. But yeah, so that's my background. I won't passionately root for any other team than Pittsburgh, but I follow Toronto, I follow Calgary, and I follow Minnesota. Those are my three teams from the other divisions that I follow and kind of keep an eye on and see. I don't watch every game, but I do try and catch the highlights and see how guys are doing. So so that's pens and stuff.
Yeah, so just quickly looking at the NFL standings, your Steelers aren't doing too bad. They got they have the reverse record of my Las Vegas Raiders. So I mean, you're doing better than us.
Well, that's true. I have no idea how this team has the record they have.
You guys need a quarterback.
Can I be honest? You know what? We need an offensive game plan. Honestly, I think Kenny Pickett can do it. I think he's good enough. I don't think he's Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think he's Tom Brady. I don't think he's Patrick Mahomes or anything like that. But I think he can put the ball where it needs to go. I think we have receivers that can catch the ball, or should be able to catch the ball. We got a defense that is that's the bread and butter of this team. That's the only thing that's keeping this team where it is. So, but yeah, the Steelers, I have no idea if they make the playoffs, they'll probably be bounced in the wild card round. So, I mean, I don't think this is a playoff. I don't think it's a Super Bowl contender by any means. And, I hear Steeler fans all the time talking about, well, we're going to have another mediocre season. We're going to finish outside the playoffs, and we're going to get a middle of the first round draft pick, and we're going to continue to suck. And that's probably pretty accurate, to be honest. And that's the problem when you have a team that's good enough to have a winning season, but not good enough to do anything. And that's unfortunately where the Steelers are right now.
And now I'm not too familiar with the Eastern Conference and hockey very often, but that kind of sounds typical of the Penguins as well. They usually have a good enough record to make the playoffs and then fizzle out in the playoffs.
Well, it has been the last several years. I think the last time we won first round was what, 2018? Is that right?
I don't know if that you'd probably know that's right before I would, but that sounds about right.
I think it was 2018 because we lost in the second round to Washington, who eventually won the cup. But I think we've been bounced in the first round. We were bounced in the first round in 19 and 20, 21, and then we didn't make it last year or this last year. So yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Yeah. Now the Penguins are never a dull team to talk about. Of course, you have one of the greatest players to ever play the game in Sidney Crosby.
Yep.
And back when I was younger, had in my mind the best player to ever play the game in Mario Lemieux.
I'm not going to argue with you.
So give us an example of what a roller coaster ride it is being a fan of this team.
Oh man, I mean, you have games that you score 10 goals like they did against San Jose, but I guess everybody's scoring 10 goals against San Jose.
Not the Oilers.
It's true. And then you have a game against Anaheim where you give up a shorthanded goal with 23 seconds left in the game to lose it 4-3, and you're scratching your head like, what the heck is this team? And the Penguins have this insane ability to give you hope one night and then rip your heart out and stomp on it the next. And they're in games most of the time. They're not. I mean, tonight they're down 3-0 to Tampa, but they're in games enough to be dangerous, to be competitive, and then it's like at the very last minute they lose. They just find a way to lose the game.
Yeah, I mean, they gave fans hope tonight because Gensel scored to start the third period, or I guess that was near the end of the third period, it looks like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they lost 3-1. I hear what you're saying, though, because, my Flames aren't much better. They give you hope some nights, and then next nights they lay a big goose egg. And yeah.
I mean, like I said, I kind of follow the Flames too, and I don't know what the Flames' issue is, if it's goaltending or defense or just not being able to consistently put the puck in the net. But, I say those things, and you could insert Calgary in one sentence and Pittsburgh in the other, and it would be the same song, second verse.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating. It really is.
Yeah, give me your thoughts on Kyle Dubas as a general manager since he's come in from Toronto. What do you think?
Well, he's definitely made some bold moves. He made a hard push for Karlsson, got him here. I said at the beginning of the year that I was a little nervous about what might happen having Karlsson and Letang on the same team. Both of them are fairly regularly in the minus category. As great a season as Karlsson he had last year, he was still a minus 27. I think that's right, last year. And so, which means, he scored, what was it, 100 and some odd points. So he was on the ice for 100 and some odd goals for, but he was also on the ice for almost 130 goals against. Mm-hmm. So as a defenseman, that's not good. And Chris Letang is usually that way too. And so I was always, when this thing was going on, I was telling Andrew and Abby, my kids, on air, and on our preseason podcast, I said, I'm excited about this as far as the potential of this team for scoring goals is. And I really thought the power play would be a lot better than it is. And I'll get to that more in a minute. But Kyle Dubas bringing in Karlsson, I thought was, for him to do that was a real bold move. Obviously he brought some other pieces in. My hope though is I want to see him get through a draft. I want to see us draft some decent prospects. I'm looking at our prospect pool. There aren't a lot of guys down in Wilkesboro, Scranton who I think have what it takes to play up on the big team. And there's a couple names: Alex Nylander, Valtteri Puustinen. I don't know if that's right, if I'm saying that name right. Those two guys have played up with the big team and have done well, but I'm not sure they're consistent enough, even at the minor league level, to show some good stuff. So I think Kyle's got to show me something in the draft. It'll be interesting to see what he does. And again, that's a lot's going to depend on where the Penguins are at the trade deadline. If we make a push to try and get better, or if we're going to sell off a lot of these pieces that we have, I don't know. This is, I can't remember a season like this where we were 2 months in and the identity of this team, we still don't know what it is. And that's disturbing to me. And I don't know if that's a Dubas thing, or if it's a Mike Sullivan thing, or if it's a Sidney Crosby thing, or Evgeny Malkin thing, or a Tristan Jarry thing. I honestly don't know. This team has me so confused that sometimes I just want to put my head through a brick wall. Hence what I have behind me. So that's behind you. Yeah, that's so it's there, it's ready to go. But I don't know. I don't know.
You mentioned possibly selling off pieces, and the talk every year is, Malkin is disgruntled. He's going to leave the Penguins, or is any of that ever going to happen? Are Crosby, Malkin, and Letang, who have, I believe, set the record this year for the longest 3 teammates in North American sports?
Yeah.
Are either 3 of those pieces ever going to leave the Penguins?
I would be very surprised if any of those 3 leave. And again, if someone were to come along and say, "Hey, we want Malkin, we want Letang, we want Sid," and the pieces coming back were good enough, right? Like if you had Sid here and the stack for him was like this high, I could see Dubas maybe pulling the trigger on that, but honestly, I'm not sure how long he would stay in Pittsburgh if he traded any one of those 3 pieces. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think these 3 guys are the Penguins right now. And I think these 3 guys, well, maybe not Letang so much, but I think Malkin and Crosby are both generational talents, and to have 2 generational talents on the same team twice, because you had that in Mario and Yager back in the 90s. To have that twice in your leagues or in your team's history is insane. I honestly think Jake Gensel has potential to be a generational talent. But again, right now he's playing in the shadow of Crosby and Malkin. And I think what Gensel does more often than not is he gives up a lot of chances to try and get Sid the puck. And that's another thing with this team. I mean, we can talk about that if you want to, but that's just another thing with this team that bothers the crap out of me. They don't shoot the puck enough. At least the guys who should be shooting the puck don't shoot the puck enough.
Yeah. So you mentioned possibly, if the stack for Crosby is up here. Now, speaking as not a fan, but as a real non-biased fan of the game, is Crosby still worth a stack?
I don't know. He's slower than molasses. But I mean, he still does stuff that you watch it and you go, "Holy crap! What just happened?" He's maybe lost a step speed wise. He hasn't lost anything up here.
No,
the guy is smarter than probably every other player on the ice at any given time. That his and then not only to be able to outsmart somebody, but then to be able to do what he does with the puck, to get it to a guy, to make that pretty pass or to take that shot. Yeah, I would say, I don't know. It would have to be the right situation for him, right? Where he wouldn't have to be the guy. Maybe I don't know, maybe Boston or Edmonton or I don't know.
Well,
I can't imagine what team would be willing to part with what they would need to part with to get Crosby, because what you'd be giving up would not be helping Crosby. Does that make sense?
I know this would probably never happen, but I saw a post last week that said Connor Bedard doesn't like the culture in Chicago and he wants out of Chicago. Of course, that was going to come up. I knew that.
Yeah.
Let's say theoretically Chicago says, "Hey, we'll shoot you, Bedard. You send us Crosby and Letang."
Wow. I would say no, because, well, I don't know. I don't know because
Well, you're losing some offense and some defense, so that's
You-
probably not a good trade.
well, you got Carlson in there now, and Carlson's more of an offensive guy anyway. He's not really a defensive defenseman.
Yeah.
I don't know. That would I'll tell you what, I'll bring it up on our next podcast and we'll talk about it.
I'm curious to
I'll
see
get-
what people
I'll
think
get
of that.
Andrew and Abby's opinion on that.
What are your thoughts on head coach Mike Sullivan so far this season?
I think he's got to be on the hot seat to a certain degree because this team is underperforming like crazy. Right now, the league average power play is 20%. The Penguins sit just above 10, and that's with the talent that's on that power play. You've got Carlson, you've got Malkin, you've got Crosby, you've got Gensel, you've got who's the fifth guy on that? Fooey. I can't think of his. I keep forgetting these guys' names. Anyway, but even just those four, you need to be producing more than just over 10%, and they're not. And I don't know why. Well, I do kind of know why. They don't shoot. Everybody's trying to outpass the next guy, and they don't shoot the puck. And they'll go, 0 for 4 on the power play and only have 2 shots on 8 minutes of power play time. And that's not going to get it done. And this team has got to shoot, and those shots that they take have to get on net and have a chance for a rebound. I think Gensel is strong enough and willing enough to get into in front of the net and do the dirty work that say Hornquist used to do back in 16, 17. But yeah, this team is vastly underperforming in every facet of this season. When your goalie has more goals than 5-6 guys on your team, that's concerning. But yeah, this is and that power play's given up 4 shorthanded goals already this year.
Yeah.
4 shorthanded goals this season. They've only scored 7 goals on the power play this year. They've given up 4 on the power play this
So
year.
the power play is only a +3 right now.
That's right. That's right. To me, that's the biggest thing, and that's coaching. And whether that's Sullivan or the assistants, I don't know. But buck has to stop somewhere, and the guy with the HC in front of his name is usually where the buck stops.
Yeah. And you kind of, while you were talking there, walked right into my next question, because you got the regular guys at the top of the points column. But who would you say is not putting up the numbers they should be? Who's the dead weight on the team right now?
Well, yeah, there's how long do you have?
Well, we've already mentioned the 5 guys that are being outscored by a goaltender.
Yeah.
If you're the coach or GM and you got to get rid of one player right now, who is it?
Oh man. I could go with the easy one and say Jeff Carter, I guess. I don't know why he's still on the team. I don't know why he's getting minutes. He's old. He's slow. I know he's on the 4th line, but I don't know why you waste the roster spot with that guy. He was one of our favorites back in the day. When he came to the team, we loved him. But right now, it's just like, I don't know. This, man,
Yeah, it's a hard decision.
Lars. No, not See these now. I'm going down the list here. Gensel's leading the team with 28 points. Then Crosby, Malkin, Rust, Carlson. Those are the guys you expect. And Riley Smith and Chris Letang both have 13 points. And then it just kind of drops off. Lars Eller with 8, Radim Zahorna, Drew O'Connor, who are two of our younger guys, still at 27 and 25. Ryan Graves and Marcus Pettersson, 2 defensemen who have 5 points each. To
me, Ricard Raquel sticks out here with only 4 points, because when he was in Anaheim, he was putting up numbers.
Yeah. Well, and he's he's playing on that second line with Malkin most of the time, and I don't know. Well, no, he's on the third line now because I think Riley Smith got bumped up to that second line with Malkin and Rust. But I don't know. I think, there's so many guys here. You look at, I mean, Jeff Carter's probably the easiest one to say.
Time to retire.
Definitely. Or trade him somewhere for a bag of pucks. I don't know.
So let's both of your goaltenders right now got 500 records. How has the goaltending looked to you?
Not what it needs to be, but then again, when you're facing as many shots as they are per night, it's amazing that we're winning anything. It's amazing that these guys have. They each have a shutout, right? Am I right? Jari has 3, and Nedeljkovic has 1. I can't imagine how these guys are over 900 save percentage.
Yeah, and they both are,
with the volume of shots that these guys have faced. Jari's faced 513 shots in 18 games, and that just sounds insane to me. And Nedeljkovic, 175 in 5 games. What is that? That's 37 shots a night.
Yeah, they're definitely facing some rubber, that's for sure.
But it's crazy. I suppose if you look at it from that perspective, you got to say they're probably overperforming. But again, 500, that's not going to get you into the playoffs. You got to do better.
Yeah.
And again, that's not just goaltending. There's offense, there's defense, there's special teams, and there's goaltending. And right now, the special teams suck. The offense is hit or miss, and the defense, they're turning the puck over so much. It's like they want the Penguins to lose. I don't know what to say about that. It's I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens at the deadline, and if we believe that. Yeah, I was doing some research while I was waiting to come on tonight, and 187 turnovers in 24 games.
Wow,
that's awful. That's I don't know what the league average is, but I gotta believe it's less than that.
Yeah, that's that sounds like a staggering number. Now I am a huge Marc-Andre Fleury fan. I always have been. Did this team go in the tank when they got rid of Fleury, do you think?
No, I don't think so.
Do you think that was the right decision at the time?
I think it was the right decision at the time.
Yeah.
Murray was playing incredibly well. And really this fan base, and it's a fan base I'm a part of, but this fan base really turned on Matt Murray when he began to falter a little bit in 18 and 19.
Yeah.
And then by the time 19, 2019 and 2020 was over. Well, actually, by the time 2019 was over, they were, the 18-19 season was over. There was no way Murray could stay. People were just being incredibly, made me sad to be a Pittsburgh fan, the way some of our fan base treated Matt Murray.
Mhm.
And I felt bad for the guy. I still like him. I think I think a lot of that shattered his confidence, and he's never been the same goalie. But yeah, I think it was the right decision at the time to let Flower walk. I'll tell you the one that hurt me more than that one was seeing Brandon Tanev get scooped up by Seattle in that expansion draft, because Brandon Tanev was pretty much the only guy who would hit anybody on our team, and they just didn't protect him, and I thought that was awful.
So
But-
who would you have protected instead of Tanev? Or who you would have protected Tanev?
Left unprotected?
Who would you have left unprotected?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Right?
I don't know. It's a hard. That's a hard one. I don't know.
Because I think at that time you guys had, of course, did you have Justin Schultz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, did we at that time?
I don't know if you had Schultz or not at that time. That was just 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
2 seasons ago.
No,
So
I think Schultz had moved on. I think he was with Washington by that
Oh,
time.
is he already gone? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who we would have left unprotected at that point, but it is what it is. You can't change the past unless you have a time machine, and even then sometimes it's hard.
Ah, yes. So now you mentioned earlier that you guys like to talk about other stuff like rules and stuff in the NHL.
Yeah.
One thing I like to ask people a lot is what would be one rule that you would bring in or change in the NHL? While you're thinking about that, I'll tell you what mine is. I would really like for them to get rid of icing.
Maybe. I would think maybe. I think keeping the guys on the ice, not allowing the offending team to change. I think that helps. I think
that's
that
true.
helps a lot. I think if there were a rule change that I would make, it would be, and I don't think it even needs to be changed. I just think it needs to be enforced. And that is, you don't see them calling the penalties on face-off guys. They get a warning and then they're supposed to get a penalty if they do it again.
Yeah.
But they don't. Whoa, that was cool. But they don't. I have no idea what that was. Anyway,
Happy birthday.
it wasn't me. I unless this was it, unless that triggered it. I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, all that to say, I think if they, I wish they would enforce that more than they do. As far as, because it seems to me to bog down the game a lot when those guys are. I think they give them too many warnings. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there.
There is something about the league I would change, and it's not necessarily a rule, but I would fire whoever does the schedule for the NHL, because quite frankly, there's no need to have only 2 games on a Friday night.
Oh,
maybe that's the victory sign, and I don't know. There's no need to have only 2 games on a Friday night and then to play 16 games on a Tuesday. That's just insanely dumb. I think if you're gonna have the, what did they call it? The night of frozen ice or whatever they called it. I don't know. What did they call it when they had all 16 teams
right.
play?
We're all 16, all 32
Yeah.
teams played. Yeah. I can't remember what that was called now.
Yeah, I can't either.
Yeah.
That's how impactful it was. Anyway,
Well, and my wife, who's an Oilers fan, like the Oilers are playing tonight, but they just had 6 days off.
yeah.
Why is there a 6-day break for a team? Like,
And then I have no idea. I haven't even looked at the schedule, but I would venture to guess that they play a back-to-back tonight and tomorrow. Am I right?
oh, that could be. That could be. Also, there was also a day last week where teams didn't play at all. There was no games, and it wasn't Thanksgiving. It was the Tuesday, I think, before.
Really?
Yeah, there was no games.
Well, it drives me nuts, and this is a constant theme on our podcast because we always talk about the scheduling and how stupid it is. That, I mean, I think there were like 3 or 4 teams this year that started the season with a back-to-back, and I'm like, seriously, we can't figure this out to where teams, don't maybe. I mean, I can understand maybe 2 or 3 over the course of the year, but most teams are playing 6, 7, 8 back-to-backs. And then, like you said, some of them got like 6, 7 days off.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it. I just don't. And I don't, you can't convince me that this is the best way to promote your sport.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, dude, if you're going to have all 16 teams play, have them play on a Friday night or even a Saturday, like space it out throughout the Saturday, have them start like at noon Eastern, and then every hour start another game or 2 games, at the 7 o'clock hour and 2 games at the 9 o'clock hour Eastern time, and just, and get them all in. And that way you have opportunity to see every team a little bit throughout the day. That would be my way of doing it. But
Well, yeah, and I'm looking at the standings right now. The Tampa Bay Lightning and the Columbus Blue Jackets have played 27 games already. There are teams that have only played 20. And
Yep.
20.
Yep. Thank you, NHL schedulers. You've earned your money this year.
Yeah, and another rule change that I see a lot of people talking about that they'd like to see is how in the overtime, when you have guys going into the offensive zone and then they circle back and come back out.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of people say that they'd like to see a rule where you can't come back out of the zone once you're in unless you lose possession of the puck.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I would agree with that. I think it bogs, because the point of the 3-on-3 was to be more exciting, more fast paced, and to do that over and over and over again, it bogs the game down, and it's not fun to watch anymore. I think another rule change that I would make would be if you commit a penalty in overtime in the last, 2 minutes, that penalty time, that you add, the clock resets to 2 minutes and you get that full penalty. You get that full power play. Because in the Penguins game against Philly, was it Philly? Yeah, Philly the other night. In overtime, it was like 1 minute and 25 seconds, and the Flyer player fell behind the net as he was trying to score a goal, and the Penguins came back with a 3-on-2. Torts sent a guy on the ice to take the too many men penalty, which against Pittsburgh's power play was probably genius, actually. Coaching genius right there. But then, the Penguins had like a 58-second power play, which they didn't score, obviously, and they wound up losing that game in the shootout. But I think I'd like to see something like that, or maybe when time runs out, the team that's on the power play can continue until they either score or the other team possesses the puck.
Oh, that's interesting too. I'd also like to see a penalized team if they score a shorthanded goal, the penalty ends.
Yeah, maybe. Of course, my team right now this year, I wouldn't like to see that.
That's true. Very true.
Because our power play sucks out loud. It's pretty awful.
Look, Jim, it's been great. I'll put your socials in the description here.
I appreciate that.
Tell people where they can find your podcast.
We're on Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're just about anywhere you can find podcasts, and we'd love for you to check us out. We usually upload most Saturdays. I'll say that most Saturdays. We record Friday and then post on Saturday, and then you'll find a new episode just about every Saturday. During the holidays, I think we're probably going back down to every other week. But once the holidays are over, once January hits, it'll be every week. Once a week, we podcast, and we do predictions. We have a little game every episode called Random Crap We Want to Talk About, and someone will throw a topic out there, or someone will come with a quiz, or someone will come with whatever. And it's a lot of fun, and we really enjoy doing it. We would love for everyone to come and listen and enjoy the greatest sport in the history of mankind, ice hockey, with us.
I agree 100% there with you. All right. Thanks a lot for coming on the show, Jim, and we'll definitely have you on down the road.
Thanks for having me, Jason. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
You too.
Well, sports fans and friends on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified when we go live or post. And follow Puck and Pigskin. That's Puck, the letter N, Pigskin, on Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, pretty much everywhere. Spotify, YouTube, we're everywhere. That does it for me here at Puck and Pigskin World Headquarters in Red Deer, Alberta. Go check out the Elks Call with my friends Catherine and Scout, aka the Elks Herd. They go live at 8:30 Pacific time on the Shotgun Sports Network YouTube channel. Sorry, that's 8:30 Mountain Time, not Pacific time. I don't know where my mind's at. On the Shotgun Sports Network YouTube channel from Puck and Pigskin World Headquarters here in Red Deer, Alberta. Have a great night.